How come no one notices Banksy at work? Loosely related to the topic, but you know there is this myth that wearing a high-vis vest, you can get into everywhere and no one will question it? So that works for an extent, and as UPR1 Emrose said, he prepares his work beforehand and basically that's it. I think in his movie Exit Through the Gift Shop has a scene where he walks away from his telephone box installation looking like a construction worker or something like that. Link with the cliffs u2.bec7 sippy zt8c equals 0 nfyeui 71 rohk it equals 2097. Because they don't announce anything ahead of time and nobody takes pictures of just people working. It's like when they set up those cloth archway things in Central Park. Nobody saw Banksy at work. But anybody walking though the park saw the DPW trucks building the archways. Watch the Banksy documentary Exit Through the Gift Shop and hear from Banksy himself how he makes his art. I used to work in a nightclub in Cheltenham. I walked past a tent against the side of the house with bright lights and people in it, but didn't want to stop at 3 a.m. to figure out what was happening. Next day I woke up and it was the spy booth with a huge crowd around it. He works late hours. It's all stencil work. I have done one and it seems easy, but you literally have to cut it by hand and then lay over and spray paint, and sometimes it also has layering. But you can be quick if you practice enough. I can't speak for everywhere, but he is from Bristol, which is full of graffiti. People throw up artwork all the time. If everyone filmed people spray painting, they may well just end up beaten up. I know some of his locations which can be tucked out of the way, at least his latest ones are. There is a theory that Banksy is actually a collective of artists, I believe it. And it's a lot harder to catch a conspiracy by definition than a single perpetrator. As for why they are not caught in action, maybe they were, it just wasn't considered a Banksy. Or maybe it's just basic respect, kinda like how if you see someone stealing baby formula, no you didn't. Amateur graffiti artists do much more complex things without stencils all the time without getting caught. You just gotta do it at the right time. It's well known it's Robin Gunningham. People chose not to say anything because they and he don't want him to become a celebrity. The same reason little kids believe in Santa Claus. Anybody who cares to know knows who he is can find out in about 10 minutes it's Robin Gunningham. People just don't want to know, because you're either in the public where a mysterious political activist is more fun than some artist, and the art world doesn't want you to know, because Banksy's name immediately doubles, if not more, the price of the art. Check out his Instagram. There are videos of him doing his thing. My very obvious conspiracy theory is either Banksy was never actually a single person, or isn't anymore. People say he's quick and works at night. But come on, no one, not once, has walked by and recognized the work being done sometimes in the middle of London? My guess is it's some group or maybe even a firm that sends a work crew that throw it up within a half hour, and the work is probably covered in cloth privacy screens until it's done. And only then do people realize that the construction work being done was an artist. When Hethy were in LA a decade ago, UCLA students kept finding high-vis jackets, hats, etc. near work. My assumption has always been that they or the group are really fast, and then chuck what they were wearing as they walk away. He probably just puts on a reflective vest and carries a ladder, thus becoming almost invisible to most people, as well as capable of going nearly anywhere he wants without being confronted. Banksy is like Santa Claus. If you happen to see him in action, you just enjoy it. People generally don't see anything until they are forced to look at it. I once saw him when he was in LA for the Oscars for his doc. Saw about 3 dudes in balaclava crossing Lashnega BLVD. I thought it was a robbery or something. Next day I drive past that same spot and it had a Banksy graffiti. High-vis jackets and a hard hat make anyone basically invisible. If you need to move though, a crowd hold out a walkie-talkie in front of you. Aside from the fact that he uses stencils, he probably goes out of his way to spray in a way that doesn't draw attention to himself. He wears disguises, so if he is seen, he's not obviously identifiable as some specific guy, just a guy, and probably has a number of associates who keep a lookout or create distractions and barriers. His associates may also be the ones who actually spray. I hope it's partially because people understand the negative impact that would have.